My mother looked me in the eye across the Christmas table and said the words in front of everyone. "You're off the will now. Everything goes to your brother." 23 people, aunts, uncles, cousins, all of them staring. She smiled when she said it. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I reached into my bag, pulled out a box wrapped in red paper, slid it across the table. "Open it," I said. The room went silent. Her hands hovered over the ribbon. She looked confused, maybe a little nervous. She should have been, because inside that box was proof. Documents she thought didn't exist. Evidence she never saw coming. Want to know what was in there? And what happened when she opened it in front of the entire family? Stay with me. But first, drop a comment. Where are you watching from, and what time is it there? And if you've ever been the family scapegoat, hit that like button. You're going to want to see how this ends. Let me back up. I grew up invisible. My brother was the golden child. Every mistake he made got covered up. Every win I had got ignored. When he crashed Dad's car at 16, Mom said it was an accident. When I got a scholarship to college, she said I was lucky. Dad saw it. He tried to balance things, but he was quiet. Mom ran the show. Then he got sick. 3 months in the hospital. The last week, it was just me and him. He held my hand and said, "I made sure you're protected. Trust the paperwork." I didn't know what he meant, but I nodded. Dad passed on a Tuesday. The attorney handed me a sealed envelope at the funeral. I put it in my closet and didn't open it. I thought I had time. I thought Mom would be fair. I was wrong. After Dad died, Mom changed. She got obsessed with control, with appearances, with making sure everyone saw her as the perfect widow. And my brother, he stayed the favorite. No matter what he did. I built my own life. I work in finance. My mentor taught me one rule early: save everything. Every email, every receipt, every statement. I listened. I had a filing cabinet at home, 5 years of records. I didn't know I'd need them to fight my own mother, but I did. 2 months before that Christmas dinner, Mom called a family meeting. Just her, me, and my brother, at her house. She sat at the head of the table, had papers spread out in front of her. "I'm updating the estate plan," she said. I felt my stomach drop. "Your brother needs help. He's in some debt. He has a family to support." I looked at him. He wouldn't look back. "I need you to sign a waiver," she said, slid a paper toward me. "You give up your share of the inheritance for the family." I stared at it. "You're single," she continued. "You don't need it. Your brother has kids." I pushed the paper back. Dad's will was clear. I'm not signing anything. Her face went cold. "So you're choosing to be selfish?" "I'm choosing to honor what Dad wanted." She stood up, pointed at me. "Then you're choosing consequences." My brother finally spoke, quietly. "Just sign it, please. It'll make everything easier." I looked at him, at her, at that paper. "No." I walked out. 3 days later, her attorney sent me a letter, and that's when I knew she wasn't asking anymore. She was erasing me. The letter came certified mail. I opened it at my kitchen counter. Inside was a petition, filed with the probate court, requesting that I be declared estranged and renounced under state law. Attached was an affidavit, notarized, dated 3 weeks earlier. It had my signature on it. I read the words: "I, the undersigned, voluntarily waive all claims to the estate." I never signed that. I'd never even seen that document before. My hands started shaking. If a judge believed this, I'd lose everything. Everything Dad wanted me to have. I called my brother. Voicemail. I called Mom. She picked up on the second ring. Her voice was sweet. "Hi, honey. I didn't sign this." "Sign what?" "You know what." Silence. Then she sighed. "You'll thank me later. You're too angry to see it now." She hung up. I sat there, alone, staring at my own forged signature. I thought I'd lost, but then I remembered. Dad's envelope, still in my closet. I stood up, walked to the closet, pulled it down, and I broke the seal. Inside the envelope were 3 documents. The first was a copy of Dad's original will, standard stuff. The second was a letter, handwritten, addressed to me. If you're reading this, I'm gone. I set up a safety net. The trust protects you. No one can take it. I love you. Signed by him and an independent trustee. I scanned the pages, found the clause on page 4. Beneficiary shares are equal and irrevocable. No amendment or waiver permitted without written consent of both children. I read it again. Mom had no power to remove me. The waiver she was trying to enforce? Void. She couldn't touch this. I exhaled for the first time in days. She didn't know this existed. I pulled out my phone, took photos of every page, sent them to a trust attorney I'd worked with before. She called me back in an hour. This is airtight. Your mother can't disinherit you. But that forged signature? That's a felony. I nodded. I need to know who did it. She paused. We can find out. A week later, Mom found out I'd hired an attorney. I don't know how. Maybe my brother told her, maybe her lawyer did. Either way, she escalated. She sent an email to the entire extended family. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. The subject line read, "A difficult truth." Inside, she painted herself as the victim, said I was trying to financially abuse her, that I was threatening to take money from my brother's children. She said she never thought her own daughter would hire lawyers against her. My phone exploded, text after text. Some people asking if I was okay, most accusing me. How could you do this to your mother? She's grieving and you're making it worse. Your brother needs that money. Then she posted on social media a photo of her and Dad, caption about how hard it is to lose a spouse and then have your child turn on you. It got 200 likes. I didn't respond. Not publicly. But my brother called. His voice was shaking. Mom says if you fight this, she'll make sure no one in the family ever speaks to you again. I took a breath. Is that what you want? Silence. Then he hung up. 10 days until the estate hearing, and I still had one more card to play. My attorney ordered a forensic document analysis. We sent the forged waiver to a certified examiner. 3 days later, the report came back. I met her at her office. She slid a folder across the desk. This signature isn't yours, and we can prove it. The report was 12 pages. I'll give you the highlights. The signature didn't match my pressure points or stroke pattern. The examiner rated it a definitive forgery. The notary stamp? Fake. We searched the state notary registry. That stamp number didn't exist. It was purchased online, template style. Anyone could buy it. Then we pulled the metadata from the PDF. Creation date? The day after the family meeting. Creation location? An IP address registered to my mother's home internet provider. My attorney looked at me. This is forgery. This is fraud. We can file a criminal referral if you want. I stared at the report. Mom had committed a crime. To erase me. To protect herself and my brother. I don't want her in jail, I said. Then what do you want? I thought about it. I want what Dad wanted, and I want her to know she can't do this. My attorney nodded. Then let's give her a choice. I needed to understand why. Why she'd go this far. My attorney pulled my brother's financials through a subpoena. It's legal in estate disputes when fraud is alleged. The numbers came back. My brother owed $240,000. Gambling debts, a failed business, a second mortgage. But here's the part that mattered. Mom had co-signed everything. 3 separate loans, all in both their names. If he defaulted, she was on the hook. One of the loan agreements had a clause, a specific repayment trigger. Amount due in full within 90 days of settlement of Dad's estate.
She'd promised the lenders she'd pay them with the inheritance, but if the estate split equally, there wouldn't be enough. She'd lose her house. She wasn't protecting my brother. She was protecting herself. That's all she ever was to me. A line item, an obstacle, not a daughter. I sat with that for a while. It hurt, I won't lie. But it also made everything clear. I wasn't fighting a grieving mother. I was fighting someone who saw me as collateral damage, and I knew exactly what to do. My attorney drafted 2 documents. The first was an emergency motion to freeze the estate, to remove Mom as executor, to install an independent trustee. The second was a settlement offer. Simple terms. I take my 50%, exactly as the trust specified. Mom and my brother split the other 50% however they want. No criminal charges filed. The forgery evidence gets sealed, not prosecuted. But they had to agree, in writing, within 24 hours of receiving the offer. If they refused, everything went public. The hearing, the forgery, all of it. The hearing was set for December 26th, but first, there was Christmas. Mom had invited the whole family, 23 people. She wanted a perfect holiday, a perfect image. I decided to give her a different kind of present. I printed 3 copies of the trust, 3 copies of the forensic report, 3 copies of the settlement offer. I put them in a red box, wrapped it with a ribbon. My attorney asked if I was sure. "You're being more generous than she deserves." I looked at her. "I'm not being generous. I'm being final." Christmas Eve, I drove to Mom's house with that box in my passenger seat, and I didn't feel nervous. I felt free.
The whole family was there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, kids. Ham on the table, lights on the tree, everyone smiling. Mom was in her element, playing the gracious host, the devoted widow. I sat quietly, ate my food, waited. Dessert came. She stood up, tapped her glass. "I have an announcement." Everyone turned. She looked right at me. "I've finalized the estate. Your father would want me to take care of those who need it most." She paused. "Everything is going to your brother and his family. He has children to raise, responsibilities." She smiled at me. That cold, perfect smile. "You're off the will now." Gasps around the table. A few people looked at me with pity, a few with judgment. I didn't react. I reached into my bag, pulled out the red box, slid it across the table to her. "Open it," I said. Calm. Clear. She blinked, looked confused. "What is this?" "A present." "Open it." Her hands shook a little. She pulled the ribbon, lifted the lid, pulled out the papers. The trust was on top. She stared at it. Her face went pale. My uncle, a retired lawyer, leaned over. "What is that?" He took it from her hands, started reading, out loud. "Irrevocable trust, equal beneficiary shares, no amendment permitted without written consent of both children." He looked at Mom. "You can't disinherit her. This is locked." She tried to grab it back. Her voice cracked. "That's not—" My aunt picked up the second document, the forensic report. "What's this?" She read the first line aloud. "Signature analysis conclusion. Definitive forgery." The room exploded, people talking over each other. My brother stood up. I looked at him. "Sit down. You're named in the settlement offer." He sat down. I addressed the table, my voice steady. "Dad made sure I was protected. 3 years before he died. Mom tried to erase me with a forged document. That's the proof." I looked at her. "You have 24 hours to accept the settlement, or it all goes to a judge, and the forgery goes on public record." She stared at me, eyes filling with tears. "You do that to your own mother?" I stood up. "You did it to your own daughter." I walked out. I didn't stay for dessert. Mom's attorney called 18 hours later.
She accepted the settlement. No argument, no negotiation. The estate was split exactly as Dad intended, 50-50. An independent trustee took over. Mom lost all control. She never spoke to me again. I'm okay with that. 30 days later, the estate closed. I received my half, down to the dollar, exactly as the trust specified. My brother sent me one text. "I'm sorry." I read it, didn't reply. Some apologies come too late. My attorney asked if I wanted to press criminal charges for the forgery. I thought about it, but I didn't want revenge. I wanted my inheritance, and I wanted my peace. I got both. Mom kept her house, barely. The settlement gave her just enough to cover the loans if she and my brother were careful. He entered debt counseling. I heard that from a cousin. I didn't ask for details. I don't track them anymore. 6 months later, I used part of my inheritance to start something Dad would have loved, a financial literacy nonprofit, free workshops for young adults, teaching them about wills, trusts, boundaries, and how to protect themselves. We launched in his name. There's a plaque at the entrance, in memory of a father who kept his word. I go there twice a week. I teach a class on Thursdays. It's the best thing I've ever built. People ask me if I regret how I handled it, if I regret humiliating my mother in front of the family. I didn't humiliate her. I protected myself. There's a difference. She made a choice to lie, to forge, to erase me. I made a choice too, to stand up, to use the tools Dad gave me, to set a boundary. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because they're family. You don't owe anyone silence when they try to steal from you, and you don't owe anyone forgiveness when they show you exactly who they are. That Christmas, I gave my mom the truth. It was the last gift she ever got from me, and I've never slept better. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and your own integrity? What boundary would you set in this situation? Drop your story in the comments. I read them all. And if this helped you see something clearly, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more coming. Oh, and one more thing. This story is a fictionalized dramatization for entertainment purposes. It's not legal or financial advice. Always consult a licensed professional for your specific situation. But the lesson? That's real. Protect yourself. Keep your receipts. And never let anyone make you smaller just to keep the peace. Thanks for watching.